Welcome back to the shop. Steve here, and in today's video I want to talk to you about how I detail clean my miniatures and how to work safe when dealing with resin prints. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discourage you. Resin printing is amazing, and I've been printing with resin since 2015. That is way before most people had resin printers, and that's because I was able to win a Pegasus 3D through the site Instructables with one of my costumes. So since that time, the accessibility in printing with resin is absolutely amazing. I recently got an Saturn 4 Ultra. It is by far the best resin printer I have ever used. It will self-calibrate, it will self-level. All you have to do is plug in a USB or send a file through Wi-Fi, and in a couple of hours, you've got a pretty cool looking miniature. But what do you do with that miniature once it's on the build plate? So I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups and forums, and I see a bunch of new members that are really excited about 3D printing, especially models for games like Crusade, where the miniatures are STLs right now, at least till the physical copies come out. So they want to get their own printers, and they want to learn how to do this. And that's awesome. I love seeing people jump into new hobbies and find a new way to get creative. I just want to make sure that you're doing it the correct way. So I want to show you some of my steps to print off these miniatures, detail clean them, but do it in a safe manner. Now, also, I'm not saying that my way is the perfect way. Everyone out there is going to have their own opinion to it. You do your due diligence, see what works for you. But I'm going to show you what I do, so let's go ahead and get started. This video is sponsored by Elegoo. So the first thing to do is to drop my models into G2 Box, and as you can see, these are pre-supported. I have a room for all my 3D printers separate from living spaces, and I supply the surrounding shelving with anything I might need for safety or repair. Files were saved onto a USB, and this gets plugged into the back of the unit. For this batch of miniatures, I'm going to be using the ABS-like 3.0 resin. The machine is powered on, and it runs through its own set of diagnostics. Once it's calibrated, you're allowed to go through the files and select the one to print. I do have an exhaust that pulls all the fumes outside the house. I make sure to wear my respirator and gloves when dealing with liquid resins. What's nice is Elegoo provides a drip tray for any spillage while removing the build plate. The plate is held at an angle to remove any excess resin, but it looks like all these came out great. And even though the miniatures are cured, you don't want to breathe in or get any of the liquid resin on your skin. Placing the build plate on a silicone mat, I use the provided scraper. If they're sticking too much or not enough, play around with your exposure time. Cleaning the 3D prints is going to be a multi-bath process. Bath number 1 is some old IPA that is poured into a container. The prints are submerged into this for the initial removal. As you can see, this IPA is quite cloudy because it's been used multiple times. Next up, I'm going to use a couple of pickle containers with strainers. One will have IPA that's a little bit cleaner, and the other one will be almost perfect. Supports are gently removed from the miniature, and it's placed into bath number 2. For highly detailed models, I make sure that the print came out perfect before going ahead and cleaning it. And for prints with a lot of support on the surface, it helps to wash off additional trapped resin before putting it into the bath. The models are then submerged and strained before being placed onto some fresh paper towels. At this point, the models are pretty clean, but I'm still going to take it one more step. Here I use bath number 3 and a soft toothbrush to remove any possible remnants of the resin. For models with some highly detailed areas that are hard to get to, I will use an airbrush to help dissipate any of the IPA that might be down in nooks or crannies. This process is then repeated for every model. Making sure to pay extra attention to models that have drainage holes. The miniatures were then placed on a cure machine, ran for 4 minutes, flipped, and then ran again. This curing process is what hardens the resin. Now I'm going to go back and strain bath number 1 with a paint filter. This is to remove any debris or supports that may still be in the liquid. The reason I'm going to all this trouble is so that I can filter down the IPA and I can use it again and again. From here, I'm going to take a UV light and place it over the IPA. This is going to cure resin particles that are in the tub. Coffee filters are used to help filter down the IPA, collecting any larger particles of resin out of the liquid. The UV light is also used on bath 2 and 3. These batches are also going to be strained and drained. After I'm all done, the alcohol is sealed back into its original container. After the small amount of IPA left in the tub evaporates, I can then just clean out the resin. The cured miniatures are bagged by faction, so I don't lose or mix up any of the pieces. I just need to make some custom bases to attach all of these to. So hopefully this video did give you a few tips on how to detail clean yet safely handle your resin printed miniatures. And if those tips did come in handy, give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and until next time, have fun building.